gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and...
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, bass daddy and tournament pro, Don McDowell.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is Sunday morning of Bill Luke Bass Days. You've got the alternate bass in the box, JK, handling it. Last I saw of Don McDowell was last night, approximately 9:30, and that boy was tired. He's running there, and he's going to be running for about the next 12 hours, and then it'll all be over. However, since we have the opportunity and the cat's away, you're going to hear from me, and you're going to hear from Scott Corcoran from Southwest Fur Harvesters. Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine.
You were doing pretty well yesterday when I almost got that picture of you.
Yeah, I sort of dozed off for a few minutes there. That's the 2 12-hour days is a long day sitting there talking to people and showing the fur and all the stuff we have out there to look at.
That was, for those who have not had an opportunity yet, you still have today. Bill Luke Bass Days is not just about bass fishing. There are so many cool vendors that are out there, so many good things to do, so much fun to be had. Yesterday, I was amazed. The Arizona Deer Association is out there serving beer. I had no idea that people could actually drink beer at 9 o'clock in the morning. However, all of the cornhole tournament players seemed to need to loosen their joints just a tad. And by the time 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock started rolling around, they were coming in. And I can't tell you, Scott, these guys played better on beer.
Well, yeah, it's probably like if they, when they play pool or anything else, you always get better with a couple beers.
That defies some logic for me because I've watched me do any kind of video game after 2 beers, and it's like, no, we're not going to do this. No, yesterday the cornhole tournament went on, and it was just amazing because there was a handicapping system that had to go on because of the wind. And we got some gusts and some breezes yesterday, and as the day went on and as the tournament kept going on, it was amazing to watch people try and figure wind gusts and how to throw the sack and everything else. And it was like, oh my goodness, these guys are dead serious. And then you're watching people who are from 30 feet away, boom, 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 right through the hole. I'm going, these guys are good.
I couldn't believe the amount of people entered in the tournament.
Yeah.
Because where our booth is, we could see it, and I could just see a few, and then I walked out, and that whole green area was covered with people. It's like, my gosh, how many people sit there and throw a beanbag? I didn't realize it was that big of a competition.
I'll tell you what, I saw some awesome players, and there was a little girl that came up to me and said, you know what? We need to have a girls' division, ladies' division, because these guys play all day. But if we had a women's division, we should have a prize for women's division. So it's on the checklist for next year. Is they should have a prize for the men's division and a prize for the women's division.
I don't think I can get it in the hole if I stood over top of it and dropped it in. Those people are really good at it.
I thought I was good until I started watching them play. And I thought, no. Last year I won a free helicopter ride by beating the guy who owned the company, and he unfortunately bet a free ride because he figured, it's just petrol for me. In the meantime, no, he wound up losing, so I got a free ride over the lake last year. This year, not happening. I've watched some of these guys. They're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really good.
And not to top off that, yes, we had fun. We see all the vendors. We see everything. By the way, there was a hell of a bass fishing tournament going on yesterday and Friday.
That's from what I understand, that they're catching some fish. It's hard to tell from where I'm at. We've got a lot of people coming through looking at our display, and
it was amazing. People are walking around with their apps on the phone so they can check in to see how they're doing. It was phenomenal. People are going, somebody's got a 6-1. Oh, somebody's got this, somebody's got that. And the leaderboard was being updated. People were checking in. It just ran so smoothly. I was amazed. And they kept posting all these weights. And the nice thing was at night, Don Luke came out, and God, what a nice guy. He came out, and he was there. He enjoyed the party each night he was there, and he really handed over the checks for the cash to everybody. It was cool to watch. And then the guys who did win some of the bigger prizes, I think last night was over $5,000 one guy won. One guy. The day before was over $3,000 just by one guy. And there's still boatloads of money still to be made today. I'm sorry, guys. If you're thinking about going out to Bill Luke Bass Days to fish, it's too late. Can't help you now. Or am I incorrect? I'm not. Come on. Talk to me, Patrick. Are we on, or is it not possible? You can't enter now. It's too late to get in the water.
As of 8 o'clock, maybe.
8 o'clock?
Maybe.
Maybe.
If you got in the bass boat and left right now, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe, yes. Friday there was 225 fish weighed.
They were doing pretty well on Friday. That cloud cover helped a little bit, I think.
Yesterday we had 166 fish weighed.
Ooh, so that hot sun and the wind kicking up really dropped them down.
It shut everything down a little bit.
Now, if you look outside this morning, it's calm.
Beautiful.
And welcome to Phoenix, folks. Yeah, it's calm, it's beautiful, and everybody's having a good time out there. For most part, though, yesterday was all about family events and the kids. I saw more kids with camoed face paint. The first kid I saw, I thought, ooh. I was looking at him from about 75 yards away, and I thought, oh, my goodness. He's got a horrible defect on the side of his face. What a sweet, kid to be out there playing, having a good time. And then I kept watching him and going, wait a minute. Somebody said there was going to be, as he got a little bit closer, oh my goodness, that's not any deformity. The kid's got face paint all over half his face was painted and the other half was not. And he just looked really strange from about 60 yards away. So, did Southwest Fur Harvesters have anything to do with that camo face paint, Scott?
No, we didn't have anything. We had a lot of kids stop by and check out our tan fur display and, sit there and explain to them what animals they are and what they eat and what they do. And, it's fun because we get to sort of educate the public a little bit on what's going on outside of the valley, deep in the wilderness, and even tell them, we've got a tan mountain lion hide there, and people don't realize the mountain lions are right there at Lake Pleasant. They're there. They're there somewhere. People just don't realize it, that the animals are there. And as much kettle corn as I spilt underneath my chair yesterday, I believe the coons and skunks and everything will be in there tonight or tomorrow night and clean up my mess for me.
That was the amazing thing, too, is last night, the Arizona Deer Association was serving beer. I think we've served just slightly over 2,000 beers in 2 days. And that's a lot of here, take this, $4. Thank you, goodbye. I know now that we have Coors Light, Miller Light, Keystone Light, Red Apple Ale, and Blue Moon. For anybody who's interested this afternoon, starting at 10 o'clock a.m. till 4 p.m. And by the way, there's going to be a concert by Ashley Weinman tonight. And she is awesome. She's coming on at 1. Is that a 2 hour? 1 to 3? Hour?
Depends on the crowd.
Well, she did the Star Spangled Banner both nights.
Oh,
Friday night,
she was awesome.
Isn't she? For 15 years old, that little girl's got a future in her. She was just awesome. She had a great time. Her mom, her dad, and the family were out there. She came up on stage when Mogollon was playing last night, and she dedicated a song to J.K., which was Hell on Heels. I can't imagine why anyone would be doing that for me. She was really good, though. I'm looking forward to this afternoon's concert, and I hope everything goes off well for her. She's really dedicated to what she does, and she's just what I will call a natural entertainer. She enjoys herself. She has a tremendous stage presence. She does a really good job of it. Were you able to see her up there at all, Scott?
Yeah, I watched her on the national anthem last night, and impressed me. She does better than the big celebrities. She gets the words correct.
Yeah. She doesn't forget.
She doesn't forget. No, and what a set of pipes she's got on her. Boy, that girl can hit every note, I think. It was just unreal.
You look at that little teeny tiny body, and you hear that big voice come out, and you go, where was I when they were giving out voices? It's just not possible such a little teeny tiny thing can do that. But she does a really good job.
Yeah, you don't want me up there trying to sing.
No, you and I have a career that's outside of any of the entertainment industry. Yeah. We're going to make sure that we stay where we're supposed to be.
The Weilands have done a very good job raising that child. That is one heck of a kid. She is so smart, focused on what she wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
Gives back.
Yeah.
A lot of her songs, the Red, White, and Blue, if you buy it off of iTunes or something, some of that money goes back to Pets for Vets.
Yep.
Through
PetSmart.
PetSmart.
Yep. No, the one thing that impressed me about her is that She doesn't use the typical quote-unquote slang of teenagers, and she talks like an adult. She acts like an adult, but she's just in this cute little teeny tiny body with just a wonderful presence about herself, and she's having fun. No pretenses, nothing. She's not being sucked in by what she will, some of us could consider the high life or anything else. She's very well grounded. Her folks keep her that way, but she was really, really good last night too.
1 o'clock this afternoon. Bring a blanket. Hang out.
All right.
What about the carnival rides? We got time?
I know a family of 4 that went out there, and those kids rode and rode and rode and rode all kinds of rides.
That must have been expensive.
No, that's the key. They didn't pay a penny for those rides.
So once you get through the gate, everything is free.
Unless you want to consume anything.
Yeah, unless you want to eat, then you better bring a banker with you on that one.
Piggly's at the fair. They said,
man.
okay, if you want a pulled pork sandwich, $10.75. You want a hamburger, $8.75. I thought, are you crazy? And then they served them. I have to tell you, that was a very, very big plate of food.
We got to eat out there for Friday, Bill Luke, and it was unbelievable. The amount of food is crazy for the dollars.
All right, we are not going to interrupt George Strait when he starts playing the songs that I love. So we'll be back, and until then, here we go.
I see your face and then I'm wrapped around your pretty little finger again. I've got some big news. The bank finally came through. And I'm
the bank came through on Friday for Mr. Dwayne Moore from Mogollon. He kept teasing everybody last week, and he was laughing about the fact that 2 years ago he had entered into the striper tournament and caught one fish, didn't think anything about it, and decided to just have it for dinner, which, Kim Carter came over and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm cooking my fish." He goes, "Is that a striper?" "Yeah." Nobody entered a fish. You would have won. He about freaked.
That was $1,000.
$1,000 fish dinner. So he entered again this year, and if you go to the Bill Luke Bass Days on the website, there's a picture of Dwayne Moore dancing his happy little head off because he's got a check for $1,800 because he won the striper, the big fish for the striper tournament. And Friday night, he was just as tickled as pink as possible. And you know how much he won by? 1 ounce.
That's all you got to win by.
I'm going, whoa, you want to talk about hair splitting? I hope that there would be some lead involved with that fish. Did you have a good dinner, Mr. Striper? The lead weights are there? No, he was tickled with it. I mean, the only thing I wasn't sure of yesterday, and I still haven't been able to find out, is how the catfisherman did and how Flathead Ed did.
I can't get a hold of them. They're still fishing.
Oh, they must be locked onto a big one.
Either that or still sleeping.
There you go. The camel recliner on the
swivel rocker, camouflage, waterproof.
Details.
Yeah.
Details. All I know is that they were going out, they were going to tie something on, leave it dangling in the water and go to sleep. Yeah, and then they're going to come in and say, "Oh, we're exhausted. We had a horrible night out on the water." Yeah. You didn't catch anything because you slept through half your strikes.
Oh, no. Once those reels go.
Oh, that's true. That'll wake your butt up. I was the kind of person who would always just kind of loop it around a finger or something. I'm bound to lose a finger.
No. You get onto a 40-pound catfish with that wrapped around your finger, you're going to lose the end of your digit.
That's what I was afraid you were going to tell me. All right.
But go ahead. Do it next time.
Oh, yeah. You think you're going to get me out on the water so I can sleep on the water? I'd wake up. I've had sea legs on worse than that. You give me any whitewater chop out there at night, forget about it. Well, Scott, one of the reasons I asked you to come in this morning was I wanted to talk about the fur pricing and what's going on with furs. I had heard that there was a huge drop in fur prices and that people were holding on to them this year. What do you know?
Oh, yeah, there was a huge drop. It was anywhere from 40 to 60, 70% on some species. Most of it was caused by record warm winter in Europe, Russia, and China. really, I guess the only place that was cold was the United States. And
they didn't have a winner?
They did not have a winner. I guess if you watch the Olympics over in Russia.
That's true. They were riding around in T-shirts.
Yeah, they were importing snow. And it takes cold weather to sell fur garments. And so a lot of the manufacturers still have garments on the shelf from last year that they haven't sold. And another problem was that the garments were getting too expensive.
Really?
Our fur prices kept going up and going up. Well, so do prices for buttons, zippers, the basic coat itself.
Sure.
Everything going up. So the garments are getting too expensive. But the biggest problem happened over in China. They elected a new premier. And
wait a minute. I didn't know they had elections in China.
I did not either. I was reading this in the Trapping magazine yesterday. They elected a new premier, and he's there to stomp out corruption and...
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, and try to put some kind of environmental regulations in that
Excuse
country.
me, is this the country where we ship over everything we want manufactured, and they even have pictures of the sun so people can remember what it looked like because of the haze?
This is it. And I don't know how to pronounce the name of their biggest fur importer and manufacturer. But they've caught them on smuggling charges of smuggling furs in to the country, in and out of the country. And if I remember right, they had at least 10 people already sentenced to prison and 30 or 40 more awaiting trial on smuggling charges and not paying their import duties and tariffs and export duties and tariffs in and out of the country.
So the question is it the import duties and tariffs that they were after, or just the basic fact that they had furs
they
coming in?
They started out with a task force of approximately 360 agents trying to just drugs and
drugs, tobacco, alcohol, and furs,
endangered species. No, and they just ran into this through a report. They just got a report of this company doing smuggling.
Okay, endangered species. I mean, what we're looking at here is nowhere near endangered, right?
No, but they're not paying their taxes on it. And so that sort of hinders everything over there. And another big thing is the environmental rules they're putting in. The way it sounds, these tanneries just dump their waste in the rivers and just throw it anywhere.
I've heard that.
They're trying to get it so they're more ecologically friendly, which I have no problem with, cleaning up the water and everything. So China sort of sat out this year. You're starting to see reports I see on the computer from some of these auctions that there's Chinese buyers there now.
Oh, good.
So
okay.
They'll get their act cleaned up, and I believe fur prices will be up a little more next year. I believe that. I don't think they're going to be where they were last year, but that they might come up 10, 15%, like our coyote or our fox right now that are bringing $20 to $22 a piece. Maybe they'll get up to $35. That would be I could live with that.
What about the that wonderful looking bobcat? It's enormous, by the way, that you brought in. You bought in a pelt from a bobcat. What would that go for?
In today's market, probably $300 to $400 from what I've heard. Last year, that would have been about an $800 cat.
Oh, that's taking it right in the shorts.
Yeah, it takes it in the shorts, and I've got quite a few of them laying around the house about that size, not quite that big. I got some pretty big toms. It's the fox. It's the fox that's really hurting me this year because I caught so many of them.
How many did you get?
I ended up with 76.
76 fox.
Yeah, wow. And last year I got $45 a piece for them, and this year the fur buyer I talked to in Albuquerque, he quoted me a price of between $20 and $22.
Nuh-uh.
So
I'd hold on to them.
Yeah, I'm deciding to hold on to them. A friend of mine up in Chino Valley's got a big freezer. We're going to take them up there in a week or so and bag everything up and put them in a freezer for the year and get them out next year and see what the market's like.
Yours are, of course, all skinned out and fleshed out.
Yeah, everything's put up. They're fleshed, dried, stretched. They're ready. Everything I've got's ready to sell right now.
Awesome.
It's just waiting for a market.
As hard as you have to work out there to get that, I think it's important for you to hang on to that investment.
Yeah.
All right, folks. George is back. That means we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the fur pricing, and we're going to talk a lot more about Bill Luke Bass Days.
All I can say is, how about them cowgirls?
tell you?
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't start surfing on me, Scott.
Get off the chair, Scott. Get off the
You
chair.
can't do that. That body surfing. Oh, Cabana Boy Girl is doing wonderfully today. We're going to put that tape of her statements last week when she was cutting in for us on the song that Dwayne Moore was singing were just awesome.
That was very good. Very good.
Had more comments on her 3-second clips than anything else that we saw all last week. All right, Scott, let's get back to the fur pricing and what's going on in China. You said somebody was given a death sentence?
Yeah, I read in the Trapper Post magazine that they caught one guy that was smuggling in untagged otters and sea otters and the big giant otters, sea otters from South America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and supposedly he got the death sentence for that. And in China, they don't have really an appeals process, I don't believe, so it's probably already over with.
Yeah, he's no longer with us. Yeah.
But they've confiscated from that fur company. Like I said, it's supposedly China's largest fur manufacturer. They confiscated over $1.2 billion worth of fur and over 1 million skins from them just that have been smuggled in.
That's enormous. I mean, that's serious money. $1 billion here, $1 billion there. You're sooner or later you're talking some serious money.
Yeah. And so they're trying to get it cleaned up over there. Like I said, I believe they will. And what sells fur is cold weather.
Sure.
You don't go buy a warm pair of gloves if your hands aren't cold.
You know, the funny thing is because I believe a lot of citizens of the United States would buy more furs, except for the fact that they're afraid of getting splashed by people with paint or dye or something else.
Yeah, you're starting to see it come back into fashion a little bit. You
Good.
know, even Beyonce wore mink fake eyelashes at the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Or Joe Namath this year.
Coyote jacket.
That coyote jacket was cool.
Oh yeah, I believe it's like anything else. Fur's a fashion trend.
Sure.
It'll come up, it'll go down, and really what we're trying to do, we're selling a commodity, so
Yep.
We're at the mercy of the market. I'd just like to see fur prices come up some and then sort of stable off. So we got an idea of what the fur is really worth when we're catching it.
Yeah.
That makes it sort of tough when you think you got a $45 fox and at
Somebody
the end of the
says it's
season,
half that.
it's only half of that. It makes life a little tough, but.
Now, what was your total take this year? Do you have your numbers? As to what you got?
I ended up with 76 fox, 16 coyotes, 12 bobcats. I think it was 15 coons and about 22 skunks and 2 badgers.
Yeah, the badgers have become a hat, right?
Yeah, I've got they're sent off the tannery along with your coyote already.
Oh, good.
And I had 2 people, Woody Farnsworth and his dad, each bought a badger from me. They're getting a tan to put on their wall. They're really nice big ones I caught. And then, like I showed you, that coyote I brought in here, the one that you're getting is that big, if not a little bit bigger.
That is one big dog.
Yeah, he was a big old male dog.
Oh, yeah.
I caught him he was caught by a total of 2 toes. And, yeah.
I'm amazed he didn't chew him off, I swear.
I don't think he was in that long.
Yeah,
I
couldn't have been.
think he just got caught an hour or 2 before I got there because he didn't have the place tore up.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, it was really hot and sunny that day, and he brushed up underneath the cedar tree. And I think it was just too hot for him with all that hair on there, and the sun beating down on him to really fight that trap.
Nice.
But when I come riding up to it, and he come underneath that cedar tree, he went from 0 to 60 in about 3 feet of chain, and I've never seen anything hit the end of a chain so hard in my life.
Flip over.
Yeah, he flipped over, and he went right back under the tree. So I took care of him from about 30 yards away with my 22, and
Perfect.
And the rancher was just ecstatic that I caught one that big. He loved it. And then we got that one I brought in. We caught there.
Same area.
Same area.
You look at the size of those coyotes; they're eating something. And as the president of the Arizona Deer Association, I look at those animals and I go, you know what? That's what's eating all our fawns.
It is. They're eating your fawns. They're up there at those ranches. During trapping seasons when they're calving up there, they're probably getting some calves.
I know they are doing that.
They knock the rabbit population down, which hurts the bobcats. There's really not too many good things I can say about a coyote. Except,
the one thing I know for a fact is they are not edible.
No, I wouldn't. I would probably have to be pretty hungry before I threw a piece of them on the grill.
Nope,
but
not. I've seen what they roll in. I've seen what they eat. I know what they'll do. No.
I know how they smell from skinning them all the time. So
that was one of the questions I've always forgotten to ask you. How bad is it? I know I've been told when you get one, if you shoot one in the summer or if you shoot one in the fall and it's not prime, you want to bring it back for something. You put them in a bag with a flea and tick killer powder mixed in, and you just shake it up and you let them ride back like that, right?
Yeah, you can. Most things I catch don't have fleas. I think I had 2 or 3 fox this year that had fleas. I carry some flea powder for my hounds, and I just, like I said, I just put it in a bag and put some flea powder in and shake it up, and then keep them in the shade all day until the evening when I
want to skin them out.
Want to skin them out, and it's all taken care of.
Now, how long does it take you to skin a coyote if you wanted to do it rapid fashion?
I can skin one out in probably about 10, 15 minutes. And then
that's doing a really good job too.
Yeah,
right?
That's doing a good job. I've probably got half an hour to 45 minutes in it all together by the time I flesh it and get it on the stretching board. Fox takes me about 20 minutes total.
And I heard you also had some issues with somebody who was deciding that he didn't like trappers this year, and he was going around stealing some of your traps. We didn't hear that, did we?
It's still under investigation.
Well, we have. There's a person up there that doesn't approve of what I do, and he'll go around and steal my cage traps if he finds them. Game and Fish is aware of the problem.
Good.
Officer Jake knows what's going on up there.
Perfect.
In 20A.
I hope they get that guy, and I hope they wrap his knuckles.
Well, if we don't get him this year,
get him next.
We'll get him next year. He'll be around here again. So
ideally, it would be wonderful to get him on a trail cam.
Yeah, if
video.
Just catching a trap thief is a major accomplishment. It's just something that's never hardly done. So this is the second year in a row he's got some of my equipment, and we'll get Game Warden Jake, and Game and Fish is all hyped up on trying to catch him. So we'll work on it next year.
Yeah, and not to be outdone, wake up in the morning and who strolls in the door? Mr. Jim Brown from the Fish Clipper. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Westy Worm. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you. Hey, you ever put GPSs on your traps? That'd be cool.
They have.
I don't know anything about trapping.
No, they have a system now.
Yeah.
That when your trap fires,
yeah,
it'll send you an email.
Oh, really?
But it's like $200 to do about 5 traps, so it's a little expensive.
It'd be a good investment to catch the guy, though, wouldn't you think?
Well, that was my thought. If you could put a GPS tracker on one of the boxes that he steals, and not have him aware that these have trackers in them, and then follow it to where he disposes of them or hides them on his place.
Yeah,
and nailed big time.
What's the fine for that?
There is a fine for worrying or harassing a hunter. I know.
No, there's in the hunting and trapping regs, it's illegal to disturb a trap unless you have permission of the owner.
Okay.
And
it
wouldn't be just doing that. You still get him for theft.
Sure, absolutely.
And the cages
after you beat the snot out of them.
I have no comment on that right at the moment.
Because if he did, then that would be premeditated.
I agree.
So he has no idea what he's going to do.
But
I can't imagine that.
Game and Fish is aware of what's going on out there. When I talk to Jake, if he doesn't get any progress on it this year, we'll hit it again next year. And we'll get him. We'll get him.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to Mr. Brown and see his surveillance issues from this weekend and if he coincides with what we thought. We'll be back.
Longhorn horns on a Cadillac, kicking up dust with a cockeyed smile.
Got up at dawn just to be out on the water. The weatherman said hot and getting hotter, but he didn't say nothing.
No. That's Ashley's job. That is not my job.
She's on 1 o'clock today, 1 to 2. She's cranks. Did she open up for Tim McGraw? Do you know? When I was at Tim McGraw, there was a girl looked just like her. Her name was Ashley.
No, this is her first public concert.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it.
Very first, huh?
Very first.
I didn't catch that. Sorry.
That's all right. She
her
dedicated a song to me last night.
Well, you're just a suave guy.
We're not going any further than that, are we?
Hey, she's a good kid. She's going to go far.
I think so, too. That was the betting money, is that as long as everything maintains where she's at right now in terms of headspace and everything else, she's got the talent to do it.
Yeah,
she's got an intellect.
Yeah, she's got the parents to do it.
Yeah,
they're going to keep her in line, too.
Good encouragement, so.
All right, your thoughts on what you saw yesterday?
Well, we've been out there, it's my 4th or 5th year out at the lake, and things are improving every year, get better and better and better. Don's doing a great job. Everyone's doing a great job getting organized, getting things, squared away. Like in the years past, it's been a little loosey-goosey here and there. I think it's very organized this year. One of the better years I think I've been out there. And it is quite the family event this year.
It really is.
Years past, I'm a kind of a fishing guy, so I have my fish clippers out there. And this year I have my Robo Westie worms, which is my new worms. I would have swore I would have sold out all my worms. Quite frankly, I did the opposite. I sold fish clippers and hardly any worms.
Really?
So that's telling me that they did a good job on marketing and getting the families out there to the event. I mean, you pay $10 to park, everything's free.
Yeah.
Carnival's everything. And you can't go wrong there. So it's interesting, it's really geared towards the families. And when I start talking about my fishing safety clip, the fish clipper, and about how it secures the hooks and all that, people are just like, wow. And they're just throwing money at me. Here, I want one. And as far as the tournament guys that are there fishing, they've never seen the Robo Westie because it just came out in December of last year. So I got little sample packs and I give them one, go try it. Let me know what you think. So I got a lot of people fishing it today, and we're going to see what happens.
You know what? It's like anything else, Jim. You and I both know it. If it's a silver bullet, if it catches fish, you're going to be inundated with
That's
them.
very true.
Yeah.
Very true. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes back to my booth today and says, hey, I had luck. Because, fishing is really tough out there. And it's always tough on that lake. And with the conditions, the wind, the cloudiness, which is good sometimes. But when the wind kicks up on that lake, it's tough place to be.
It was pretty brutal yesterday because some of those wind
gusts.
Oh my!
Oh yeah.
Like watching the those hard athletes out there, the cornhole people with those wind gusts.
Hey, you know what? I brought my cornhole. You didn't get. I don't think you got a chance to see it, but I had one in my booth. But you know what? Because I started practicing last year when I started. I'm going to get myself one. So my wife and I, we got one. I've been practicing, but never got a team together. Mm-hmm. But when you throw those beanbags in the air, they do.
Oh yeah, they are
quite
affected.
A bit. So it is an athletic event, like you said.
It may be an athletic event to the extent that you have to throw something, but there are very few athletes out there.
Well, the motion from leg level to the mouth when you're drinking your beer is quite the distance if you really think about it.
I was going to say there was a lot of beer elbows out there because they were really pumped. I could not believe those guys actually did perform better drinking beer.
That's the way it works, just like darts.
And pool.
Yep.
Pool.
Okay.
I can attest to darts.
I'm just going here all of a sudden darts, pool, and
Irish,
rugby.
Scott, we're missing something in life, aren't we? Never mind. We're not going to touch. Don't you say a word.
I'm not saying nothing.
No. We're not going to go there.
My wife listens to this show, and I'll get hit over the head when I get home if I say anything.
No, but the event's going very well. I'm headed out there right after this, do the last day and, listen to Ashley sing and, talk to more people, educate them about my product and, just have a great time. People need to come out there and see all the vendors. We're all out there for you,
that was the one thing I noticed is that in terms of the booth exhibitors, there's more stuff for women than there is for guys.
There is.
I was stunned. I'm looking around at some of that stuff going, oh, wow. Wait a minute, that's all girl stuff.
A lot of bling bling out there.
Oh, there's a ton of bling bling.
Yeah, and a lot of women wearing bling bling. It looks, makes the show a little interesting.
What I was trying to do yesterday, our booth is located right behind the Southwest Fur Harvesters.
Right.
He fell asleep in the chair.
What?
He did. He was out cold. Scott Corcoran was out cold. I wanted to put a little piece of bling across his chest while he was dozing and take the picture. I didn't think I was going to get that lucky, so I'm fiddling with my camera, and I'm trying to get set up just the right thing, and he wakes up.
Oh, bummer.
I was 2 seconds away from one of the most priceless shots you've ever seen. The Hulk asleep.
Yeah. Did he have his hat on?
Oh, yeah. No,
Possum
no,
hat?
he did not. He did not
I
have
don't
that.
think I had the Badger hat.
Oh,
on.
Badger, I mean. Yeah.
Badger was tucked away. No, he was just sitting there in the sun, and it was like I watched him a couple times, nod, and then he was gone. Oh yeah, photo op. We're gonna do that.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all see the same thing, though. I think last year was my first year out there, and I watched it this year, and there's a lot more controls. Certainly,
Yes.
In terms of the environment, in terms of the people, in terms of the booth layouts and everything else, and they tightened up, bringing everybody kind of in a little bit more, which is really good.
Yeah.
A little bit closer.
Yeah, everybody seemed. I mean, quite frankly, I think there have been. I got to phrase this politically correct. There have been moments in the past couple of weeks where we have all seen the Bass Daddy a little bit stressed.
Just a little.
Just a tad. And while he has handled it admirably, there has just been a bit of an edge that we might have perceived on occasion, right?
Yes. Worded very eloquently.
Thank you. And so we offer our heartfelt congratulations to the Bass Daddy and all the work between him and Kim Carter and Don Luke. They have put together an awesome program. And
I'm going to interrupt you. There are so many people that do so much that you guys don't know about,
Very true.
and that I probably don't know about.
Sure.
There is a lot of man hours and women hours that go into this to pull this 3-day event off. It's crazy amount of hours.
Yeah.
I look at that stuff and I just shake my head.
It's a whole year of planning. I mean, you have the show, you're already planning.
No.
for
We're planning it. 2 weeks ago, we started planning stuff.
For next year.
For next year.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. And you learn from this
Not
show what
we.
to add.
Yeah, right.
Add the next year. And the food vendors, Pigley's out there doing a great job.
Mighty Moe's mini maple bacon donuts.
I didn't touch those, but I was captivated by the size of the exhibit that Pigley's at the fair had, and I went up and I said, okay, that'll be a hamburger, and they said $8.75, and I'm going, where's Don McDowell? Where's Pat McDowell? They said they were going to try and keep prices down until they served the burger. I mean, you could have had 4 kids served on that. Yeah. Yep.
2 minutes.
And those turkey legs are ginormous.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that'd feed a half a family.
Yeah. Except, one kid's going to be gnawing on one end and the other on the other end. I mean, that's how big it was. You could do that effectively.
Yeah, very true.
Well, at the top of the hour, we'll have the Bass Daddy himself calling in, hopefully. We're going to get hold of him and see what's going on out there this morning. He was pretty ragged last night when I last saw him, which was about 9:30, I think, last night.
I got a text message from him at 11:30 from him.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I responded this morning, but...
Of course, we all did.
I didn't think Don stayed up past 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that was Jan. She probably sent the text out. All right, we've got a bit of roll call today, so unfortunately, and we do this every week, and unfortunately we have 2 names today. Air Force Master Sergeant David L. Portier died February 28, 2014, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 52 years old of North Smithfield, Rhode Island, assigned to the 157th Operation Support Squadron, Pease Air National Guard. He died in a non-combat related incident at an undisclosed location in Southwest Asia. Marine Lance Corporal Caleb L. Erickson died February 28, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 20 years old of Waseca, Minnesota. He assigned to the 1st Battalion, 9th Marine Regiment, 2nd Marine Division, Marine Expeditionary Force out of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. He died while conducting combat operations in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. It's always sad when we see this happen. We've gone a few weeks without having any, but they gave the ultimate price for our freedom. Keep them in your prayers.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll. A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll brought to you by Bill Luke Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. Me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and...
Now, here's your host, Saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Actually, I am not Don McDowell, and I am afraid of fish. No, I'm not afraid of fish. However, we have the original, the Bass Daddy himself, live from Lake Pleasant. Good morning, Bass Daddy. How are you?
Good morning, Special K. What's happening, buddy?
Oh, we're having fun here talking about the event. I mean, that's all we've been on all morning long. It's been great.
Yeah, it's just screaming out here. We've got, right now we've got a 6.30 that was caught on Friday, holding the lead going into day 3. That may take home the bacon.
Is that a $10,000 check, Don?
Yeah, that's a $10,000 check. He's already won for that fish $5,232. He stands to win, if it holds, another $10,000 right on top of that.
$15,000 is a nice payday for spending some time on the water.
Yeah, Mickey Bitter picked up just about the same amount of money yesterday with a 467, which was a big fish for yesterday. And
yeah, yesterday was a hard day though. With that sun was out baking everything, and then the winds kicked in, and it was just driving everything all over the place.
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna say it's typical like Pleasant, but it's kind of like fishing in a wash machine. You know, the wind was coming in waves. It had blown for, maybe 45 minutes an hour, lay down for an hour and a half, then here it come again. But it came from another direction.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I was watching the cornhole players try and battle with the wind. Those wonderful athletes that we had out there. But you had a better view of what was going on.
I've determined that watching a cornhole contest is like watching a golf game. I'll tell you what, they're not real athletic, but I'll tell you what, they're deadly with the beanbag.
You know what? They are. And that was what the most amazing thing to me was that the more lubricated they became, the better they played.
Not like bowling. That's for sure.
No. We never had to worry about anybody skidding all the way down the lanes holding on to the ball because they've had one too many.
No, actually, overall, we've had a very successful event. We've had, in 2 days, about over 15,000 people through here. The food from Pigley's at the fair is really, really super, super good. ADA, Arizona Deer Association, doing a great job with both the beer gardens this year. We've got all kinds of vendors from bling bling to fur.
Nice catch, Don. You did well on that one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got it. So, we've had a car show. We've got another big car show today. We're expecting about 150 hot rods of various makes and models and designs.
I just got off the phone with Matthew. He's bringing his 4-wheel drive crew out there, too.
Nice.
By the way, that was a funny car that somebody lit up within 50 yards of my beer tent. Was that not last night?
That was a 1960 blown fuel dragster, the K88. That car's, back in its day, was a 160, 170 mile an hour dragster. And today we've got boats that are exceeding 300 miles an hour.
Yeah, they're called bullet boats, aren't they?
Yeah, the cool part about this, the motor in that car happens to be a 1958 Chrysler 394 cubic inch Hemi.
Whoa.
And we were lighting it off on alcohol just because of the price of nitro.
And there was a sufficient supply of alcohol there last night.
But when are we going to shoot the tank?
By the way, when is the tank going to be moving?
That tank's out of here at 0100 on Monday.
When are we going to shoot it off?
Yeah, when we're all wanting to know when's the shell going.
Well, as soon as Rod gets there, he's got a 76 millimeter bullet for it. So.
Shoot it in the lake. That'll bring those fish up.
Trust a trapper to know how to get fish to the top. Jeez.
Yeah,
by the way, just out of curiosity, last night and Friday night, Don Luke was kind enough to come out to award the checks. What an incredible gentleman for having the wherewithal both financially and emotionally and psychologically, to do what he's doing for the community. It was an awesome event.
Thank you for noticing. Yeah, Don's a heck of a guy. Puts an awful lot of money back into the Phoenix community as a whole. He's got a generous donation to Heroes on the Water. They're working with another veterans group that have canines as companions for those who need it physically and emotionally and that kind of thing. But yeah, he's quite a fly fisherman, as you learned.
Oh yes, yep. He does enjoy that. You know what? I got a little secret. He came to my booth last night, the beer booth, and he said, "Can I have some water?" And I said, "Well, we can't sell you the water, but we happen to have some in this cooler." So I gave him a bottle of water. He said, "I know, I'm a cheap date." And I said, No, yeah. We're not going to go there.
Well, I hope you gave him a saucer with it.
Yes, if he's worried about orangutans or monkeys on his way back to his seat, yeah. That was funny.
I tell you what, man, these guys were awesome last night. You know, Muggy played. I wish you'd have stayed for Muggy Dwayne and George. I'm glad George is back in the band.
Yeah.
They just rocked the house. And then they had a little private serenade session over at the Muggy camp. But wow.
I figured that might have been going for a while. Although you and I saw you and we almost collapsed against each other last night at about 9:15.
I don't know how I'm still standing, to be real honest with you.
No, I don't either. I will tell you this, at 5 o'clock this morning, there was zero to little inclination to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got, so far we've got about a dozen cars coming in. I think last count we had 360 plus unique anglers on the water.
I didn't see any results. Have there been any flathead brought in?
That weigh-in's happening down at the marina at Dock 45 at 9:30 this morning.
Flathead Ed at his best, right?
You know, it's kind of interesting. You know, we talk about conservation. We talk about the effect of the zebra mussels, the quagga mussels, the stripers, in excess, gizzard shad. These guys fish for 2 days. I don't believe, John, realistically, I don't think anybody caught a damn bluegill. A bluegill.
Isn't that amazing?
Phil went out, not last night, night before last, and caught a 26-pound flathead. Oh. And wanted to save it for the tournament, and we had to explain to him that
Details. Same lake.
BYOF, bring your own flathead.
Yeah, oh, nice. Oh, my goodness. Well, basically, I watched Kim Carter last night up on stage, and he was doing a really good impersonation of a rock star.
You know, I thought you and I are the wrong guy to give a microphone to. You give Carter a microphone, you may as well go get a seat.
Exactly. Hey, Doc, can you hang on for the next session?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes it seems so useless to remain.
Oh, Don, it's not useless to remain out there, buddy, is it?
Yeah, I tell you what, this place is getting clogged up again. Yeah, we got more hot rods. You know what else is going on? We've got the Ram Ride and Drive out here.
Oh, yeah.
Every kind of Ram truck that you can imagine. We have the new Rubicon Jeep pickup. It's called the Brute.
Is that the one that tops out at about 85K?
Well, the way they've got this thing decked out, yeah. It's got,
that's the one sitting right beside our booth.
That is an awesome machine.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, it's what they call this is the American Expedition Vehicle, Montana edition of the Brute double cab with a pickup truck bed. But it's got all the stuff. It's got skid plates, skid bars. I think you can actually roll this thing over, get up, and go again.
You know, if it just had a dining room, I'd be all set. I'd live in it. That's about the rate.
Well,
I mean, as much time as I spend on the road.
It's hooked up to one of the Moab mother of all bivouac camping trailers. It's just a heck of a deal. Awesome rig.
You know, it has been a phenomenal show so far. I mean, the amount of people that have been there, and kudos to you as to, well, everybody else who worked on this in terms of the organization of what's going on. It's been very impressive. Everything's been orderly, detailed. Even the cornhole players were patiently waiting for their turn in the playoffs, and just it seemed to flow very smoothly. Are you copying on that?
Yeah, I am. Anytime you get 5,000 or 10,000 people in one spot at the same time, pop a can of beer, you keep waiting for the explosion, and we actually haven't any.
No, none.
None. Fast Tracks out here, Sean, Judy, and his staff put on the car shows. Amp Upholstery is here. They've got a new, we'll call it a water toy. It's a drift raft. You can pile kids on it. It's new technology. Some kind of foam product that you can sit on. They've got a seat, the drift lounge, the drift raft.
Huh. All of the fun stuff.
Yeah, we've got Raven Tactical out here. In fact, we had a soldier yesterday. Kind of interesting. Tour veteran. Now has been reduced to fly at a desk. Picked up a new tactical knife, which is kind of like the old school stiletto.
Yeah.
And said, "Gee, hey, check this out." Bam! Stuck himself right in his hand. Yeah, we had him over at the medic tent for a little bit.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Hey, how's the boat show going?
We've got probably 30 boats of various sizes for sale.
See, everybody who's listening now, you've got one more day to get out there and find yourself your dream boat that somebody else has used for a brief period of time but handled in impeccable condition. Correct, Don?
Yeah, it's an opportunity to try it before you buy it. We're hop, skip, and jump from
dipping it into the water.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And, another kudo, I have to really hand it to the Maricopa Water District, who's responsible for Pleasant Harbor RV Resort and Marina. They took ownership of the marina back earlier last year. They're phenomenal. We've got the weigh-in on the water. They welcome the fishermen to come out and hang out. We've got, for the anglers this year, normally you go into a marina and it costs you, $20 for a 6-pack of pop.
Oh, yeah.
Beer. They've got grab-and-go fresh sandwich boxes with, cold cuts, of this and of that, and a candy bar, and napkin, and a bag of chips for $5. So you weigh your fish, grab a sandwich, hit the water, and away you go. I mean, you don't even have to get out of your boat.
That's awesome. That is incredible. By the way, I have seen very few hot dogs, the prerequisite hot dogs at the weigh-in. However, Piccoli's at the Fair had sausages that looked ginormous.
I had one last night. I had the pleasure.
Yeah.
And I've consumed about 8 Rolaids after that.
I had a suspicion something. I looked at that thing and I thought, if that goes into me, God help me, because I'll be rolling over in pain in a short period of time.
Yeah, Pigley's came out here. This is their first time at the event. They've got, the jumbo smoked turkey legs that actually taste like ham. Pretty interesting. And then they've got the pulled pork. Awesome cheeseburger. Big, thick, nice patty.
That's a half-pound cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Do you know that? I mean, that thing is enormous.
Yeah, that's why I didn't eat for a day and a half, I guess. And then they've got all the stuff. They got the barbecue this, barbecue that, Pigley fries, Pigley O-rings. It's just good. I'm stunned. This thing just came off without a hitch.
And, I saw this beautiful blonde-haired woman who was in a helicopter ride. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Don?
No. Thanks for bringing that up. I almost forgot about Red Rock. They're going to be buzzing today. They really popped the wind yesterday. But they got a lot of flights in. They've got I think it's an MD-600 Bell Jet Ranger flying all over the lake. We had a little bit of a shutdown as we started the event on Friday. We lost a local diver. 4 divers went down, 3 came up, and Maricopa County Search and Rescue took them a couple of days with some ROVs, found the diver that apparently had some kind of a medical malfunction on descent. And he just kept on going. He went down 280 feet. They finally found him with an ROV, and
that is so
had
sad.
a successful recovery.
Yeah.
So,
part of the dangers of life. Yep.
Yeah. While they were diving on the old dam structure, that a lot of broken up. I was out here when they breached the dam. They did it with dynamite, so there's a lot of broken concrete debris, rebar. There's some old buildings and stuff down there. It's not a good place to be diving to begin with. So,
very sad, but at least they were fortunate enough to recover the body for the family.
Yeah, man.
All right, what else do you have going on today? I know we've got we had the finals yesterday for the cornhole, correct? Everybody's done with that.
Well, there's some family boards set up today.
Oh, good.
For those that want to come out. They were playing cornhole last night till about midnight. And,
Don, weren't the lights off that I last recollect? Lights weren't off at about 9:30?
Yeah, it was a full moon, full moon last night.
They dispersed over to the Muggy camp and over to the VIP area, and when I made my last pass about midnight, checking the campsites, there were just stand by. Yeah.
See?
Yes.
He's always busy.
Always. There's always, hey Don.
I wish I had $1 for every time I heard that.
Yeah, look. Yeah, we got a 1941 Ford coming in.
Oh, sweet.
Anyway, everybody was up, really well behaved. Went over, hung out with the catfish guys. I thought the Vietnamese folks only wanted 8 fish heads. These guys had a 26-pound flathead head that they had skinned, put some gator rub on it. Who's out here selling his gator rub? So.
Oh, yeah, I met Gator.
If you like to rub your meat, Gator rub's the one. Good stuff. Anyway, my point is, these guys were eating a fish head. It was delicious.
We've got about 30 seconds and we're going to go into a breakdown. I will see you prior to 1000, okay?
Yeah, roger that, guys. Hey, thanks a lot. I got to give a shout-out to Patrick, man. That guy's, I couldn't do what I do without that guy.
Thank you.
I'm feeling the love all the way out here. All right. We'll be back. Yes, sir.
I got guys out here wanting a beer.
Hey, 10 o'clock startup. We're there.
FJ's will be there at 9.
Late.
If he sees me on the river, I'll be fishing up a creek. Kiss my bass.
Kiss my bass.
I'm going fishing.
If we're going fishing, that can only mean that we're going from Lake Pleasant up into the cool pine country with Mr. James Guggenhauer. Good morning, James. How are you?
I'm doing great, John. How are you doing this morning? Good show.
Thank you. It was a recovery effort on my part since I was serving beer from noon yesterday all the way until 9:05 last night. Were you down at all? Did you get down?
I did. I was over yesterday and left, I think, probably just before you got there last evening.
You didn't buy one of my beers?
I did buy one of your beers. Didn't see you there, but I did have a cold one, and they were nice and cold, I got to admit.
Oh, good. All right. Yes, it was fairly incredible as the day went on and the performance from the people who were there and what they did and how they did what they did. It was a fun time. Did you enjoy it?
I did, and just a couple observations. I walked in, and about the first thing I saw was 2 guys walking by me with an entire turkey leg in their hands.
And it was not a small turkey leg, was it?
It was not, absolutely. And then, the other observation, I watched Dawn run around there, And, I mean, he gives a lot of credit to everybody who helps with this thing, but Don McDowell put a lot of work into that, and him being the tournament director, I mean, a lot of kudos to Don, all the effort he did there, and the Bill Luke dealership. I mean, you can't say enough about Don Luke for the financial backing.
Between Don and the financial backing, Kim Carter, who sometimes I may call a little bit authoritarian at times, and Don, who is his second in command, they put on a fine tournament. And it's a fun family event. That's the other key.
It is, absolutely.
I kept hoping I was going to see you out there doing some cornhole, but I never did find you.
I was watching the competitors. Some of those guys take that very seriously.
You think? Yeah. The most closest thing we came to violence, though, over the whole 2 days was every time Don Luke gets up there with that little cannon that he has to shoot the T-shirts out.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a T-shirt. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to get involved in that mass of humanity for $3.
Hey, let me tell you, the fishing community here in Arizona is really buzzing this morning.
What you got?
Like several other fishermen, professional bass fishermen, our anglers are switching over to fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series this year. And the first tournament that the Bassmaster Elite is fishing this year is down in Seminole Lake, which is actually in Georgia. And the leader, after 3 days, is Mr. Brett Height from Phoenix.
Really?
Local angler, great guy, great fisherman. I mean, everybody that knows B. Height just, can't say enough about him. Very well deserved. And the best thing is he's ahead by like 10 pounds. So barring something just
falling apart. Yeah.
I mean, he ought to win this thing hands down. So, great congratulations to a Phoenix fisherman, and I know a lot of our listeners out there know Brett personally because he's come up through the ranks and fished and helped a lot of anglers get to where they are today. So congratulations to Brett.
How's everything going on the Mother Lake? By the way, last weekend was wonderful out there, but I was just gazing at it from an elevated point about 3 miles due north.
Well, you might have been looking at me because I had the opportunity to fish for 3 or 4 days last week. The only day I wasn't there was Thursday when the wind and the rain was too hard.
Yeah.
But fishing is great. You know, we had a full moon last night. We have the spring equinox coming on March 20th. The water is stable. Those fish are definitely pre-spawn. They're fat with eggs, the ones that you're catching. Any type of reaction type bait is working well. I talk about the perch, spider bait, the crankbaits, spinner baits, buzz baits, chatter baits, any of those types of things are working very well. And one of the hot spots that were named this week was those little coves, and a lot of your listeners are familiar, the little coves right across from the Windy Hill Ramp going to the north. Some really nice 3 to 4 pound bass being caught right off those major points. Those fish are just itching to get back into those coves and start the spawning process. They're not quite there yet, but you can definitely see that they're moving to the backs of the coves and checking it out. I actually saw some swimming around in 1 to 2 feet of water.
Whoa.
There last week, so the spawn can't be far behind.
Yeah, they're getting hooked on that feeling.
Yep, especially with the full moon here, and I think that front that went through probably pushed them off a little bit, but I would imagine that this morning is a calm day here, so they'll probably be up there.
And how is the local trout fishing in Little Green Valley going? They're still stocking, correct?
The stocking program has ended.
Uh-oh.
This is a community stocking program about a month ago. However, the old theory that 10% of the fishermen catch 90% of the fish. I go down to Green Valley 3 mornings a week. I talk to the same guys that are fishing on the same banks, using the same baits, and they're the ones that are catching all the fish down there. So they are still in there, and guys are having a good time. But the really good news is the trout lakes up on the rim are all starting to open up. Just one by one, every week you hear 1 or 2 more of them that are coming open. Well, as soon as they open, some of these anglers get up there and get on that water right away, And there are some nice holdover trout from last year being caught up there.
Oh, I bet there are.
Guys are catching their limits pretty steady. I'm telling everyone to check the reports before you drive all the way up there, either on the Game and Fish website or call one of the local stores or hotels up there. But if you're a trout angler and you like catching, everybody knows what the holdover trouts are, and they can be some great fun, especially this time of year. And there's no crowds up there; you can have the lake to yourself.
Yeah, that's the key. Is that they're really plump. They've endured a nice winter. The meat is awesome when for the fish, the fillets when you do them, and they just seem to be much more lively than even the normal fish that we get. The Game and Fish Department brings in.
Absolutely right. Once those fish are in there for a year or two, even the color of the meat even changes from like a white to a pinkish color.
Yep.
But boy, they're some of the best eating. If you like to eat trout, those are the ones that you want to be catching for sure.
Now, how is the contingent? And by the way, the McDowell Casino was having an absolute blast the last couple of days, but yesterday in particular, we kept hearing a roar coming, and it was because the McDowell Casino was sitting right at a prime spot in the big tent, and they were just having people roaring and laughing with the awards they're handing out and all this stuff. It was hysterical to watch.
I stopped by and talked to them, and yes, you're right. Giving away the prizes there, a big attention. Congratulations for them going down, along with several anglers from Brim Country that went down and fished the tournament also. But I have worked with a lot of them on those tournaments. It was good to see them down there.
Well, I'm really thrilled that we had the Payson contingent that came down. Did anybody take money out of Bill Luke Bass Days from the Payson area that you're aware of?
I haven't heard. I sent some text out, but I imagine those guys are probably out fishing, and I know most of them turn their phones off when they're...
Gee, you can't imagine. Yes, honey. Yeah. Yes, honey. Milk too. Okay. No, it ain't happening.
So I'll probably hear more this afternoon.
All right, good.
One more comment that I
Sure.
want to get in. I wanted to let everybody know that the Gila County Roundtable meeting is going to be meeting again on March 27th at 6 p.m. at the school in Pumpkin Center down there in Tonto Basin. Arizona Game and Fish is going to be presenting the latest information on the bass restocking program for Roosevelt Lake, and we had a very good meeting with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife representatives and Game and Fish last week on putting habitat in Roosevelt Lake, so we'll be getting an update on that. So everyone's welcome to attend. Please take the drive up. That's March 27th, 6 p.m. in Pumpkin Center.
Now, this is like, what, the fourth meeting that you guys have had up there?
Yes, sir.
I think the recognition that there's some issues is really critical. And we didn't talk about crappie, did we? Is there any crappie fishing going on at all?
There's some guys that are experienced at guys who spend a lot of time out there are telling me that they're catching 5 to 10 crappie a day. Those same guys a couple of years ago would be talking about catching 25 to 35 crappie a day.
Yeah.
Well, that's the impact that the gizzard shad have been having on that lake. And, there's crappie there, but to an average person that, used to be able to take their kids out there and catch a few crappie to get them started on fishing, it's really hard to take that approach anymore in Roosevelt.
Yeah, Jim, it's sad to see what's happened up there, but again, with the measures that they've put in place in terms of reducing, the take that they're going to have, and hopefully some of the things that they're going to do with the gizzard shad, I think that it's going to take time. You're not going to solve everything within 1 year, but the bass stocking program and everything else is going to work. Well, that's our cue that we've got to go. Mr. Guggenhauer, thank you so much for your report. Glad you were down here. Sorry I missed you. I would have certainly given you a beer.
Take care. Good talking to you.
All right. We'll be back after this.
Don't you lose control or you can lose your life. Keep your hands on the wheel. Come along with me and let's have some fun. I grabbed my britches and a long cane pole, headed for the red-hot catfish hole. Catfish, boogie, woogie, boogie, woogie, boogie, woogie.
Catfish, boogie, woogie, boogie, woogie. Okay, we're back.
Catfish, boogie.
Unbelievable. Yes, catfishing is in vogue and style, and yes, they're doing it today out on Lake Pleasant.
They should be all weighed in now.
Actually, was it 9 o'clock? This is the final weigh-in?
I don't know. I got too many numbers going through my head.
Yeah, we all do. Well, for those who have not participated in the bass tournament, who have not participated in the striper tournament, who have not participated in the catfishing tournament, and who have not participated in the flathead fishing tournament. Striper. I got striper. There is still the possibility.
Wait.
Okay.
Bow carp fishing.
Oh, good point.
We forgot about that.
Yeah. I
Don't have a clue.
I didn't see any archers out there. They were not harpooning anything that I knew of.
They're probably in camouflage.
Good point.
Isn't that what the...
That's why I didn't see them. You're right.
Isn't that what deer hunters do during the off-season?
That's what they should.
Yeah. Should do.
Keep in practice.
Yeah. I was in that slate blue, gray colored thing, so I meld with the water. Is that it?
Yeah.
Trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Behave yourself. Go back to the corner. Okay. No, for those who have not participated in any of the wagering events, there is still an awful good time to be had today out at Bill Luke Bass Days from 10 to 4.
Free carnival rides for the kids. Unlimited.
And a wonderful concert today by Miss Ashley Weinman, which is just going to be great. I'm looking forward to hearing that. I am going to actually take a lunch break during that period of time because she's got Hell on Heels and she's got a second verse for me. So I'm looking forward to that one. Not that there would be anything that any woman could possibly say about the endeavors of Mr. 1JK, right?
Right. Oh, no.
Or Special K.
We're not going to talk about that. Hey, so, and to you, Mr. Corcoran.
Yes.
You're going to hide all those furs. You're going to put them in a freezer.
Oh, hide all those furs.
Oh, yeah.
Pun intended?
Yeah, you got it.
Stock them up in the freezer for the year and get them out next March and see what the fur market's like.
You know, it's sad that because we have had I know all across the northern tier of states, I had a couple people actually come up to me yesterday at the beer garden, and they were talking about the fact that they were from Fargo, North Dakota, or places like that, and they said it was just brutal this winter. And they're still experiencing it. My brother, who's in Michigan, I talked to a couple of his people in his office, and they were just going, you know what? It got all the way up to 56 yesterday, and it was so cool. And now we got 16 inches of snow on the ground. Anyway, I remember that.
Global warming at its finest.
At its finest, yeah. Well, they're saying it's now it's been adapted, and rather than global warming, it is now more climatic change, where we will. Oh yeah, smells like. I know. Okay, yeah. We're not gonna go there.
I just wish we could get put together 3 or 4 or 5 good wet winters out of the next decade. We could really have some wildlife going on here. One thing that the wildlife thrive on, all we need is rain.
Yeah,
that's all we need for your deer, for your rabbits, bobcats, anything. If we got some rain,
fish.
And however, I will live to the day I die. They can say anything they want about it. If you, Mr. Corcoran, remove all of the predator base, or at least a significant portion that doesn't dine on deer fawns, we're going to have a viable population of mule deer coming back. But ever since 1992, when trapping on public lands was outlawed in the state of Arizona, we have had an explosion of predators, particularly coyotes, but all kinds, but coyotes in particular, and they are devastating on what they do to fawns.
No, they're devastating anything in their habitat they're living in. The rabbits, mice, it doesn't make any difference. Coyote eats everything and anything. And, you know...
That coyote that you have sitting on that chair, which happens to measure about 4.5 feet long, did not get to be the size it is by dining on mice.
No.
He was eating deer fawns.
He has that for, like, his pre-breakfast snack and things like that. But, no...
Mickey for snacks?
Well,
Bambi for dinner.
You know, like, where I trap, I've got quite a few ranches I trap on, but a lot of it is state lease land.
Yeah.
And I can't do anything with the coyotes on that. You know, when I get out on private land, I knock them dead. But just the way we have to trap anymore, the coyotes have the advantage over us all the time.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Now, in terms of the number of ranches that you've got, how many acres of land do you think that you were trapping on this year?
Oh, I've got probably 30 sections.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
The problem is access is limited on some of it. You know, there's just no roads.
Yeah.
You know, horses can't even make it up in some of this country. But
how in the heck do cattle do that?
Oh, those cattle up there, they're half jackrabbit, half deer.
They have
half
4-wheel
mountain
drive.
Goat, half mountain goat. They go through this country. They're raised in it. You know, some of those old cows, that's where they've been their whole life. They've never went anywhere else. And
they don't drive a Prius.
No, they don't drive a Prius. They don't.
Excuse me, gentlemen. We are supposed to keep this as a clean program. Keep going.
A lot of it, and the fences are 100 years old. These cattle don't even slow down for fences up there.
Really?
No, they just go wherever they want. And the cattle move fine. There's, the biggest thing the ranchers want are lions. And what I've heard where I was trapping, there was 3 of them harvested this year up there.
And if we know that 3 were taken out, there's probably at least another 10.
There's 3 or 4 more. 3 or 4 more that already moved in.
Yeah.
They're sitting up there in the Bradshaw somewhere looking for a new territory. It's encouraging when I do see does with fawns. I was seeing big does with fawns.
Now, were they singles or were there twins? There were twins?
Twins, and a lot of times I'd see 2 or 3 does with, 3 or 4 fawns with them. So they're doing it. It's just tough without the rain. This rain we had 2 weeks ago was just a blessing up there.
And that was another question. I wondered how much water got into that area. When we were looking even at the tournament on Friday, I was looking at some of those rain clouds, and I said, you know what? That's the area that Scott traps in, which was just north and to the west of it.
Any kind of moisture up there, they'll take it. Yeah, it was starting to green up a little bit at the end of the month with all the warm weather, but it got so dry, and now I think they got close to 3 inches of rain on the last storm, the first of the month, and I was up there a couple weeks ago after the storm, and nothing ran off. Everything soaked in. The horses didn't run, nothing did, so it was a good productive rain for that country, and you'll start getting some green up and grass growing, which will help the rabbits and all the small critters, which will help the big critters.
Speaking of critters, snakes, did you see a lot of them this year?
No.
You're in there when it's too cold for them,
It's too cold. Every night it was freezing or below.
Good.
I got one the year before last on January 4th. Don't know what he was doing out.
January the 4th?
January the
Rattler?
4th. Yeah. Black, what do they call him? Arizona Black?
Timber. Yeah. Timber Rattler.
Yeah. He was out crossing. He was sort of stuck in the middle of the road. It was 45 degrees out, and he couldn't go anywhere.
They don't move very fast when it gets down to that temperature.
I started really watching for snakes the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season just because the days were getting in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
You start thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a main concern for me. I mean, I've been struck at by rattlers in the past. Unfortunately, it's been, like in the 40s to 50 degree temperature, and they don't move fast.
No.
It's almost like it's a reluctant one. Oh, well, guess what, folks?
I guess we're out of here.
I think we are. For all of those who have listened, thank you very much. For all those who want to go out to Bill Luke Bass Days, I encourage you to do it. It's a great family day, and we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun. Scott, thank you so much. Pat Daddy, thank you. And Don, we're on our way.